Welcome to the Deep Dive. We dig into the key insights from important sources so you can get truly informed. Today, we're tackling something fundamental, habits. And we'll kick things off with, well, a pretty intense story from the author of our main source.
Yeah, it's quite something. He was a sophomore in high school, out on the baseball field. A classmate takes a swing, the bat slips, flies right at him,
Oh, wow.
hits him square between the eyes, multiple skull fractures, broken nose, shattered eye sockets. He was in a coma. His parents actually found themselves in the same hospital wing where his little sister had battled leukemia just years before. Just devastating.
That's incredibly tough. But the story doesn't end there, right? Despite this massive injury, a really long recovery, even getting cut from the baseball team he loved, he didn't just, recover.
Not at all. He actually went on to become the top male athlete at his university, an academic All-American, and now he's a leading voice on habits and human behavior.
And the key takeaway from his journey wasn't some, single heroic moment.
No, it was the opposite. It was all about the slow, steady buildup of tiny, almost invisible, consistent actions, day after day.
And that's really our mission today, isn't it? To unpack these atomic habits, these super small changes that, well, they compound over time into genuinely remarkable results. We want to show you how to use these ideas, how to really become the architect of your own future.
Exactly. And to see this power of tiny shifts in action, let's look at a great example. The British cycling team.
Yes, the cycling story. For what? Almost 100 years, British cycling was, well, let's be honest, pretty mediocre.
That's putting it mildly. They'd only won a single Olympic gold since 1908, never won the Tour de France in over a century. It got so bad, one big bike manufacturer refused to even sell them bikes. They thought it would damage their brands.
So a total turnaround was needed. What changed?
In 2003, they brought in Sir Dave Brailsford, his big idea, something he called the aggregation of marginal gains.
Marginal gains sounds small.
Yeah. That's the point. His philosophy was break down everything involved in riding a bike and then improve every single tiny piece by just 1%. He believed the combined effect would be huge.
And when you say everything, what are we talking about? Give me some examples.
Oh, the level of detail was incredible. Things you wouldn't even think of. Custom bike seats for better comfort, specific massage gels for muscle recovery. They even tested different pillows for each rider to optimize sleep.
Pillows. Seriously.
Seriously. They painted the inside of the team truck white just to spot tiny bits of dust that could affect bike mechanics. It wasn't about big breakthroughs, but this relentless focus on tiny, tiny improvements.
Okay, so this obsessive 1% focus, did it actually work?
Did ever. Within just 5 years, they were dominating at the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah.
Then, London 2012, they won something like 60% of the cycling gold medals available.
Wow.
And then the big one. 2012, Bradley Wiggins wins the Tour de France, first Brit ever, and Chris Froome did it again the next year. It wasn't luck, it was the math of those tiny gains adding up.
It really drives home that core idea, doesn't it? The math seems simple, but it's so powerful. Get 1% better each day, and over a year, you're, 37 times better?
Exactly. But flip side, get 1% worse each day, and you basically decline down to zero. Those small daily choices, good or bad, they accumulate into something massive over time.
So if that daily 1% is the real engine, how should we think about our current results? Our weight, our bank account, whatever. Are those the main thing?
That's a really key point. Those outcomes, they're just lagging measures. They reflect your past habits. What you really need to focus on is your current trajectory. Are your habits today putting you on an upward curve or a downward one?
Right, because that's where people often get stuck, isn't it? They try something new, don't see results right away, and just give up. They think it's not working.
Precisely. And this leads to what the author calls the plateau of latent potential. He uses this great analogy, the ice cube effect.
Okay, walk me through the ice cube.
Imagine an ice cube in a room at, say, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. You start warming the room. 26, 27, 28, 31 degrees. What happens to the ice cube?
Nothing. It's still frozen.
Right, nothing visible. But is the energy wasted? No, it's being stored. Then you hit 32 degrees.
And it melts.
Bingo! All that earlier effort wasn't useless. It was building up potential. It just hadn't hit the breakthrough point yet.
That really explains those overnight successes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They're almost never overnight. It's years of that unseen effort finally breaking through the plateau.
Exactly. The work is being stored even when you can't see it. And this focus on trajectory over just the end result, It challenges how we usually think about goals.
Ah, goals.
Yeah.
We're always told to set goals, smart goals, all that. But you're saying there are problems with being too goal-focused.
Yeah, the author points out three main issues. First one, winners and losers often have the exact same goal.
That's true. Every team wants to win the championship.
Right, so the goal itself can't be the differentiator, it's something else.
Okay, what's the second problem with goals?
Achieving a goal is often just a momentary change. Think about cleaning your messy desk. You hit the goal, clean desk. But if you don't change the habits that made it messy,
It's just going to get messy again.
right,
You're treating the symptom, not the cause.
exactly, you never fix the underlying system.
And the third issue, goals restricting happiness.
Yeah, this is the I'll be happy when trap. I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds or when I get that promotion. You're constantly deferring happiness. It sets up this binary. Succeed and be happy, fail and be miserable.
So if goals aren't the answer, what is?
It's about focusing on your systems, the process, not just the prize. Fix the inputs, and the outputs tend to take care of themselves. A coach wants to win, sure, but their system is how they practice, recruit, strategize, day in, day out.
Okay, focus on the system, the process. That makes a lot of sense. But is there something even deeper, a more fundamental shift?
There is, and it's about identity. It's shifting from what do I want to achieve to who do I wish to become.
Ah, identity-based habits.
Yes. Every action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. If you see yourself as a healthy person, you naturally make choices that align with that identity. Taking pride in your appearance means you're unlikely to skip grooming habits.
So the behavior change follows the identity change, or rather, reinforces it. You act like the person you want to become, and eventually you become that person.
Exactly. Building habits isn't just about results. It's about consciously editing and upgrading who you are.
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics. How do habits actually form in the brain? There's this loop, right? 4 steps.
That's right, the habit loop. It's cue, craving, response, reward. Simple, but powerful.
Walk us through it. What's the cue?
The cue is the trigger. It's a piece of information that predicts a reward. Your phone buzzes, that's a cue. You walk into a dark room, that's a cue.
Okay, trigger. Then the craving.
The craving is the motivation, the desire for the reward the cue predicts. It's not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You don't crave smoking, you crave the feeling of relief it provides.
Got it. So cue triggers craving, then comes the response.
Yep, the response is the actual habit you perform, the thought or action. Picking up your phone, flicking the light switch, lighting the cigarette. Whether you act depends on motivation and friction.
And finally, the reward.
The reward is the payoff. It satisfies the craving, relief, and crucially, it teaches your brain, hey, that worked. Let's remember this loop for next time.
So cue, craving, response, reward. Over and over. It makes sense why habits are efficient. They automate things, free up brain power. But that automation can be tricky too, right?
Definitely. Once a habit is ingrained, it becomes automatic, non-conscious. You just do it, which is great for, tying your shoes.
Yeah.
But it also means you can fall into old, unhelpful patterns without even realizing it, like mindlessly eating chips while watching TV.
Or that retired lifeguard example you mentioned, yelling walk at the pool.
Exactly. Or covering your mouth when you laugh. It's automatic.
Which is why awareness is so critical. That Carl Jung quote comes to mind. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate.
Perfect quote for this. To change habits, you first have to see them, which brings us neatly to the first law of behavior change. Make it obvious.
Okay, law 1, make it obvious. How do we start?
A super simple tool is the habits scorecard. Just take a piece of paper, list your daily habits, wake up, check phone, brush teeth, make coffee, then mark each one, plus, if it's effective, minus, if ineffective, equals, if neutral.
Just the act of writing them down makes you aware.
It really does. Suddenly, things you did on autopilot are right there in black and white. Another technique is pointing and calling.
Ah, the Japanese train conductors. Tell us about that.
Right. To reduce errors, conductors physically point at things, signals, speedometers, and verbally call out the status. Signal is green, speed 75. It forces conscious attention onto actions that could easily become automatic and dangerous. It reduced errors by something like 85%.
That's amazing. Just making it physical and verbal. So how can we apply that kind of clarity to new habits we want to build?
That's where implementation intentions come in. It's a fancy name for a simple plan. I will behavior at time and location.
Give me an example.
Okay. Instead of vaguely saying, I want to meditate more, you say, I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. That specificity, the when and where, dramatically increases the odds you'll actually do it.
It anchors the intention in time and space, makes it concrete. What about linking new habits to ones we already do?
That's habit stacking. The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit.
So like after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will text one friend or family member.
Exactly. You're leveraging an existing ingrained habit as the cue for the new one. It creates this chain reaction of behavior, sort of like the Diderot effect. You buy one new thing and suddenly you need other things to match it.
Okay, so be specific, stack habits. What about our surroundings? How does environment play into making cues obvious?
Environment design is huge. You want to make the cues for good habits visible and obvious. Want to practice guitar more? Don't hide it in the closet. Put it on a stand right in the living room.
Like putting your vitamins right next to the coffee maker.
Precisely. Or the famous Schiphol Airport example. They etched a tiny image of a fly inside the urinals.
Right, and it drastically reduced spillage, let's say, because it gave men something obvious to aim for.
Reduced cleaning costs by 8%. A tiny visual cue, the big impact. It just shows how much context shapes behavior.
So our habits get tied to the places where we perform them.
Deeply. That study on insomniacs is fascinating. They were told only to go to bed when they were tired and to leave the room if they couldn't sleep. It retrained their brain to associate the bedroom only with sleep, not with tossing and turning or watching TV.
So changing your environment can sometimes be the easiest way to change a habit, starting fresh.
It definitely helps break old associations, but if you can't change environments, you can redesign your current one. Try the one space, one use idea. Don't work, eat, and relax all the same kitchen table if you can help it. Dedicate spaces. It creates clearer cues for your brain.
Okay, law one, make it obvious. Got it. But just seeing the cue isn't enough, right? We need to want to act, which leads to the second law, make it attractive.
Exactly. And understanding attractiveness means understanding dopamine.
Ah, dopamine, the pleasure molecule.
Well, that's the common idea, but it's more nuanced. Research now shows dopamine is less about the pleasure of having and more about the motivation of wanting. It's the anticipation of the reward that really fires up the dopamine system.
So the wanting is often stronger than the liking.
Often, yes. Think about the anticipation before a holiday versus the holiday itself. Or scrolling social media, the anticipation of finding something interesting keeps you scrolling, even if most posts aren't actually that rewarding.
And modern life is full of things designed to hijack that wanting system, isn't it? These supernormal stimuli.
Absolutely. Junk food engineered to be more appealing than natural foods. Social media notifications giving us constant little hits of social validation. Video games with exaggerated rewards. They're all dialing up the attractiveness far beyond what our brains originally evolved for.
So knowing this, how can we make our good habits more attractive? How do we compete?
One really effective strategy is temptation bundling. You pair something you want to do with something you need to do.
Like the engineering student who hacked his exercise bike.
Roan and burn, yeah. Genius move. He loved watching Netflix, but knew he should exercise. So he rigged his bike so Netflix would only play if he was cycling above a certain speed. Stop cycling, the show pauses.
That's brilliant. Bundling the want Netflix with the need exercise.
Exactly. The formula is, after habit I need, I will habit I want. So after I process my work emails, I will check Instagram. The want becomes the immediate reward for doing the need.
Clever. What else makes habits attractive? The social angle seems important.
Hugely important. We're social creatures. We have a deep need to belong. So we tend to imitate the habits of three groups: the close, family, friends; the many, the tribe, the majority; and the powerful, those with status we admire.
So if everyone in your office eats healthy for lunch, you're more likely to as well.
Right. Joining a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior is one of the most powerful ways to make it attractive. You want to fit in. If you want to read more, join a book club. Want to exercise? Join a running group or a class.
Surround yourself with people whose habits you want to emulate. Makes sense. Okay, so we've made it obvious, made it attractive. What's next?
The third law: make it easy.
Make it easy. This sounds fundamental.
It really is. Human nature follows the law of least effort. We are wired to conserve energy. Given two similar options, we'll naturally gravitate towards the one that requires less work.
Like how agriculture spread faster east-west than north-south because the climate was more consistent, less adaptation needed.
Perfect example. The less friction associated with a habit, the easier it is to do, and the more likely we are to do it. So the goal is to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones.
How do we reduce friction for the good stuff? Priming the environment.
Definitely. Laying out your workout clothes the night before, pre-chopping vegetables for dinner, setting up your workspace so everything you need is within reach. That guy Oswald Knuckles who resets the room, cleaning up immediately after an activity prepares the space, making the next action easier. It removes future friction.
It's like those Japanese companies streamlining manufacturing, eliminating every wasted motion, or how ride-sharing apps made getting a taxi incredibly easy, reducing steps.
Exactly, addition by subtraction. Conversely, you want to increase friction for bad habits, make them harder to do.
This is where commitment devices come in.
Right. These are choices you make in the present to lock in better behavior in the future. Victor Hugo locking away his clothes to force himself to write. Buying food in smaller packages instead of bulk sizes to reduce mindless eating. Setting up an automatic timer to cut off your Wi-Fi router at night.
Making the bad habit difficult or impossible.
Yeah.
I like it. You also talk about decisive moments. What are those?
These are the little choices, often early in a sequence, that dictate where you end up later. Like the decision to walk into a fast food restaurant versus walk past it, or choosing to put on running shoes versus picking up the remote. These small choices act like a fork in the road for your next hour or even the rest of your day.
Mastering those decisive moments is key, which leads perfectly to the 2-minute rule. Explain that one.
This is such a powerful technique. The rule is, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do.
2 minutes, that's it.
That's it. So read before bed each night becomes read one page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes.
Why does this work? It seems almost too simple.
Because it masters the decisive moment. It makes it incredibly easy to start. The goal isn't to do the full workout or read the whole chapter initially. It's to ritualize the beginning of the process. Showing up is the most important part, especially at first. You can't improve a habit that doesn't exist.
So it lowers the activation energy.
Yeah.
Makes it almost impossible not to start. And once you've started, it's easier to keep going.
Often, yes. But even if you just do the 2 minutes, you've still cast a vote for your new identity. You showed up. You reinforced the habit. It's far better to do less than you hoped than to do nothing at all.
Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy. Okay, what's the final piece? The 4th law. Make it satisfying.
This one is crucial for making habits stick long term. The cardinal rule here is, what is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided.
Our brains are wired for immediate gratification.
Pretty much. We evolved in an environment where immediate rewards, food, safety, were critical for survival. Delayed rewards were less certain. That wiring is still with us.
And this explains the Karachi hand-washing story, right? With Stephen Luby.
Yes, a brilliant illustration. He was trying to improve hygiene in a poor neighborhood. People knew washing hands was important, but they weren't doing it consistently. Education wasn't the main problem.
So what did he do?
He partnered with Procter & Gamble to introduce Safeguard soap. Now, Safeguard was a nicer soap. It lathered well, smelled good. Suddenly, the experience of washing hands became more pleasant, more satisfying.
And compliance went up.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
And child health improved significantly. Not because people suddenly understood germs better, but because the habit itself felt good in the moment. It was immediately satisfying.
That's fascinating. So the challenge with good habits, eating healthy, saving money, exercising, is that the rewards are often delayed. While bad habits, junk food, impulse buys, scrolling social media often give immediate pleasure.
Exactly. That's the mismatch. So the trick is to find ways to attach some form of immediate satisfaction to your good habits. You need to feel successful right away.
How can we do that? Give me some examples.
You can get creative. That couple saving for a trip to Europe is a great one. Every time they resisted eating out, they immediately transferred $50 into a special Europe trip savings account. Seeing that balance grow was an immediate, satisfying reward, reinforcing the habit.
And the reward aligned with their goal. It wasn't like rewarding themselves for skipping junk food by eating ice cream.
Crucial point. The reward needs to reinforce your desired identity, not conflict with it.
What about habit tracking? How does that fit in?
Habit tracking is fantastic for immediate satisfaction. Simply putting an X on a calendar after you complete your habit feels good. It's a visual proof of progress.
It makes your progress obvious, attractive, and satisfying all at once.
Right. It provides immediate evidence you're moving forward. It motivates you because you don't want to break the chain of X's. And each X reinforces your identity as someone who follows through.
But what happens when you inevitably miss a day? Life happens.
The key rule here is never miss twice. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new, unwanted habit. Get back on track immediately the next day, even if it's just a small version of the habit. Don't fall into the all or nothing trap. Showing up imperfectly is way better than not showing up at all.
And sometimes the best measure isn't the obvious one, right? Like focusing only on weight loss can be discouraging.
Totally. Look for those non-scale victories. Your clothes fit better, you have more energy, your skin looks clearer, your mood is improved. These are also forms of immediate satisfaction that show you're on the right path.
Okay, those are the 4 laws. Powerful stuff. But what about taking things further, moving from just having habits to achieving mastery?
Right, there are some advanced ideas. First, understanding the role of genes. Genes don't lock you into a destiny, but they do shape your areas of opportunity.
So play to your strength.
Pretty much. Find the habits in areas where your natural inclinations give you an edge, where hard work feels more like play for you. Don't try to be a world-class basketball player if you're built like a marathon runner. Align your ambitions with your aptitude.
It's about finding the right game to play. Explore different things, then exploit what works best for you.
Exactly. And once you find that game, you need to stay motivated. That's where the Goldilocks rule comes in.
Not too hard, not too easy, but just right.
Precisely. We experience peak motivation when we're working on tasks that are right on the edge of our current abilities. Challenging enough to be interesting, but not so hard that we become discouraged. Think of Steve Martin gradually expanding his comedy routine year after year, always pushing the boundary just a little.
Keeping things engaging. But mastery isn't always engaging, is it? There's boredom.
Ah, yes. This is a huge differentiator. Professionals stick to the schedule, amateurs let life get in the way. The truly successful people in any field are the ones who can handle the boredom of practice, the repetition, the grind. They show up even when they don't feel like it.
They fall in love with the process, even the boring parts.
You have to, because motivation is fickle, but discipline endures. Showing up when it's boring is what separates the best from the rest.
And finally, even with great habits and discipline, you need reflection.
Absolutely. Habits are necessary but not sufficient. You can't just repeat things blindly. You need to constantly review your performance, look for areas to improve, adjust your system, like the LA Lakers tracking championship behavioral events, or Chris Rock testing jokes and taking meticulous notes. It's about deliberate practice and refinement.
So it's an ongoing cycle of build, measure, learn, adapt.
That's the path to mastery. It's not just about hitting a goal, it's about this continuous process of becoming better.
Bringing it all together then, the ultimate aim here isn't just achieving something specific, like losing weight or writing a book.
No, it's about continuously editing, upgrading, and expanding your identity, using these small habits as votes for the person you aspire to become.
So the final thought for you, the listener, is this. How can you consciously design your environment, your routines, your rewards? How can you become the architect of your future self, using these tiny changes, constantly driven by that wanting, and sustained by the satisfaction of liking who you're becoming?